My wife drained my inheritance to renovate her parents' house. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 36, and I'm about to lose my damn mind. My dad, a veteran, passed away a few months ago and left me a decent chunk of change enough to finally get ahead. But Brianna, my wife, well, she had other plans. She's always been the one in control, always gets her way. I love her, but sometimes it feels like I'm constantly jumping through hoops to prove it. Now I'm starting to think those hoops are on fire. This whole thing with her family, it's always about her family. I'm starting to wonder if she even considered our future at all. Should I just walk away? It was a Tuesday. Bills were due, so I logged into my bank account to transfer some money, and that's when I saw it. My stomach dropped. There were 3 withdrawals I didn't recognize, each one over $10,000. $30,000. Gone, just gone, my vision blurred. I felt this wave of nausea wash over me. I actually had to sit down. My dad worked his entire life for that money, and it was supposed to be our fresh start. A down payment on a house, maybe even start trying for a kid. Now, poof. I called Brianna immediately, my voice shaking so bad I could barely get the words out. Babe, have you seen the bank statements? There's money missing. Her response, cool as a cucumber. Oh that, yeah, I'm using it to help my parents with their house. It needs a new roof, the kitchen's falling apart, I was speechless. You spent $30,000. Without even talking to me. That's in my inheritance, Brianna. She actually sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. Ethan, don't be dramatic, it's an investment. My parents need our help, you're being selfish. Selfish, selfish. My blood ran cold. It wasn't about the damn money anymore. It was about the blatant disrespect, the complete disregard for my feelings, for my father's legacy. I felt like I was suffocating, like the walls were closing in. This wasn't the woman I married. Who was this person? I just sat there, phone in hand, staring at the wall, trying to make sense of it all. How could she do this? How? So I finally confronted her face to face. Last night. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept replaying that conversation in my head, her casual dismissal, that condescending sigh. I needed answers. I walked into the living room where she was sprawled on the couch, flipping through some home decor magazine. Ironically, Brianna, I said, my voice tight, we need to talk about the money. She didn't even look up. What about it? What about it? You took $30,000 from my account without my permission to renovate your parents' house. My voice cracked. I was trying so hard to stay calm, but the anger was bubbling up inside me. She finally looked at me, a smirk playing on her lips. Relax, Ethan, it's not that big a deal, they needed a new sunroom. A sunroom? Are you kidding me? I saw red. A sunroom, Brianna, we're talking about $30,000, that's not a big deal. That's a down payment on our future, she rolled her eyes. Oh, here we go again, always with the drama. My parents deserve a little comfort in their old age. You're being incredibly insensitive. Insensitive, insensitive, my hands were shaking. Insensitive, you're the one who's being insensitive. You stole from me, Brianna, you stole from my father's memory. She stood up then, her face contorted in anger. Don't you dare talk about my parents that way. They've done so much for us. And besides, she added, her voice dripping with venom, it's not stealing if it's going towards family. Family, that word. She used it like a weapon, like it justified everything. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a simple disagreement between husband and wife. This was a toxic. This was her family's twisted sense of entitlement, and I was trapped in the middle of it. I just stared at her, feeling this hollow ache in my chest. I didn't even recognize her anymore. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, she was gone, replaced by this monster. I mumbled something about needing some air and walked out. I'm sitting in my car now, typing this out, trying to process it all. I don't know what to do, I'm lost. Help me, Reddit. What do I do? A week later and it's a dumpster fire. Things have escalated, like, really escalated. The sunroom? Yeah, that's apparently just the beginning. Brianna's parents, bless their entitled little hearts, have decided that the entire house needs a refresh. And guess who's footing the bill? If you guessed the grieving son who just lost his father and is now being systematically robbed blind by his own wife, you are correct. I came home from work yesterday to find new windows being installed. New, fucking, windows, on a house that isn't even mine. I lost it. I mean full-blown, red-faced, shouting at the top of my lungs, lost it. Brianna, what the hell is going on here? She sauntered out, completely unfazed. Oh hi honey, aren't they beautiful, triple-paned, energy efficient? The best money can buy, she actually beamed. Like she just won the lottery, which I guess in her mind she had. My lottery. Brianna, we talked about this. You can't just keep spending my inheritance on your parents' house. That's when her mother, bless her soul, decided to chime in. Now Ethan dear, don't be such a stick in the mud. These windows were desperately needed. The old ones were drafty. We live in Southern California. I just stared at them, speechless. Then, Brianna's sister, who'd apparently materialized out of thin air, joined the party. Yeah, Ethan, she said, with this saccharine sweet voice that made my teeth hurt, you should be happy to help out family, it's what Dad would have wanted. Don't even get me started on using my father as justification for this highway robbery. I felt like I was in some bizarre, alternate reality, surrounded by vultures picking clean the bones of my inheritance. My head was spinning. I couldn't breathe. I stammered something about needing to talk to Brianna alone and practically dragged her inside. This has to stop. They're bleeding me dry. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, Brianna. This isn't about a drafty window or a sunroom anymore, it's about all of it. She just crossed her arms and glared at me. Don't you raise your voice at me, Ethan. My family needs this. And you, as my husband, need to support them. Support them by bankrupting myself, by letting them trample all over me. I'm starting to think my father-in-law's next home improvement project is going to be a padded cell for me. I'm a wreck, Reddit. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm constantly on edge, waiting for the next home improvement truck to pull up. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I know I need to do something, but I'm paralyzed. What if I'm wrong? What if I am being selfish? But then I look at the bank statements, shrinking by the day, and I know this isn't right. I need to fight back. I just don't know where to start. So I did something I haven't done in years. I called Sarah. Sarah from high school. We drifted apart after college, but I knew she was a lawyer now, specializing in, get this, family finance. Talk about a sign from the universe. I was hesitant to call, honestly. It felt weak, like airing dirty laundry, but I was desperate. I felt like I was drowning and Sarah was the only life raft I could see. Hey Sarah, I mumbled into the phone, it's Ethan Bellwether from high school, it's been a while. Ethan, oh my god, hey, how are you, what's up? I stumbled through some small talk, my heart pounding in my chest, then I just blurted it out. Look Sarah, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm in a really messed up situation and I don't know what to do. It's about my wife, and my inheritance, and her parents. I took a deep breath and spilled everything. The withdrawals, the renovations, the sunroom, the windows, the blatant disregard for my feelings, the constant guilt trips, the whole twisted, entitled mess. I felt like a babbling idiot, but I couldn't stop. It all came pouring out like a dam had burst inside me. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then Sarah's voice, soft but firm, Ethan, are you sitting down? I was pacing, actually. Yeah, why? Because what your wife is doing is illegal, potentially very illegal. My blood ran cold. Illegal? What? How? She's my wife, we have a joint account. Ethan, Sarah explained patiently, an inheritance is considered separate property even if it's deposited into a joint account. Your wife had no right to use that money without your express consent, especially for something like renovating her parents' house. She essentially stole from you, that word. Hearing it from someone else, from a legal professional, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was being robbed. Oh my God, I whispered, my knees suddenly weak. Oh my God, Sarah, you're right. She went on to explain the legal complexities, the potential ramifications, the steps I needed to take to protect myself. She told me to gather any documentation I could, bank statements, emails, text messages, anything that showed Brianna's deception. She offered to connect me with a colleague who specialized in these kinds of cases. For the first time since this whole nightmare began, I felt a glimmer of hope. I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. I was the victim, and I could fight back. This conversation with Sarah, it was a turning point. It changed everything. It gave me the clarity, the validation, the strength I needed to finally see the situation for what it truly was. Brianna hadn't just betrayed my trust, she'd broken the law, and I was going to make her pay. I was at my wit's end. After talking to Sarah, I felt this resolve hardening inside me. I was done being the doormat, done being gaslighted, done. I started digging. I needed proof, ironclad, undeniable proof. And wouldn't you know it, I found it. Not just proof, but proof with a capital P. Brianna, sweet, innocent Brianna, had been emailing the contractors for the Oakwood Drive renovation. And in those emails, lie after lie after lie. She told them I was fully on board with the project. That I loved the new sunroom, which, by the way, was now apparently going to have a wet bar. A wet bar. That I had specifically requested the top-of-the-line, imported Italian marble for her mother's new bathroom. Italian marble. Are you kidding me? My dad, a man who lived through the Depression, would be rolling in his grave. Reading those emails, my blood ran cold. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about the betrayal, the blatant, calculated deception. She hadn't just taken my money, she'd stolen my voice. She'd used my name, my father's memory, to justify her family's greed. I felt a physical sickness wash over me. Nausea, dizziness, a tightness in my chest like someone was squeezing my heart with a vice. I had to sit down. I actually started to shake. It was like my entire world was crumbling around me. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed in gone. And then something shifted. The shaking stopped. The nausea subsided. The tightness in my chest, it transformed. It became strength. A cold, hard, unwavering strength. The kind of strength that comes from the ashes of betrayal. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a survivor. I printed out every single email. Every single one. I gathered the bank statements, the text messages, everything. I organized it all meticulously like I was building a case, because that's exactly what I was doing. I opened a new bank account, transferred what little remained of my inheritance. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me as I clicked the confirm button. This was my money, and I was taking it back. I knew what I had to do. I had to leave. I had to divorce her. There was no other way. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a prison, and I was breaking free. I called Sarah back. "I'm ready," I said, my voice steady. "Let's do this." "All right, Reddit, buckle up. I'm about to lay out how I prepped for the nuclear showdown with my wife. This wasn't just about screaming and yelling, although there was some of that later, believe me. This was about strategy. This was war. First, I needed ammunition. Thanks to Sarah, I knew exactly what I was looking for. I printed every single email from Brianna to the contractors. The ones where she claimed I was on board with the renovations, the ones where she requested Italian marble. Seriously, who does that? These emails were my gold. Then the bank statements. I had a whole stack of them, highlighting every unauthorized withdrawal. Visual aids are key, people. I wanted to smack her in the face with the cold, hard facts. And just for good measure, I printed out text messages where she dismissed my concerns about the spending. "It's an investment, Ethan." Yeah, an investment in her parents' luxury retirement. I also moved my remaining inheritance into a separate account. Locked it down. Fort Knox level security. That money was mine, and I wasn't letting her grubby little hands anywhere near it. This felt good, like taking back control. Sarah put me in touch with her colleague, a shark of a divorce lawyer. We talked strategy, discussed options. He told me what to expect, how to protect myself, how to fight. Having him in my corner was huge. It gave me this confidence. This feeling that I wasn't alone in this fight. I had backup. I had a plan. But the biggest preparation, the mental game, I had to steel myself. This wasn't going to be pretty. Brianna wasn't going to just roll over. She was going to fight. She was going to lie. She was going to try to manipulate me, but I was ready. I'd spent weeks being gaslighted, being made to feel like I was the crazy one. But now I knew the truth. And the truth was my weapon. I practiced what I was going to say, over and over. In the shower, in the car, in front of the mirror. I visualized the confrontation. I prepared myself for her tears, her anger, her denials. I wouldn't let her derail me. I wouldn't let her gaslight me again. This time I was in control. This time I was prepared. This time I was winning. I was terrified, sure. But I was also exhilarated. For the first time in a long time, I felt powerful, like I was finally taking charge of my life. This was more than just a divorce. This was a liberation, and I was ready to fight for my freedom. Wish me luck, Reddit, I'm going in. The air in our living room crackled with a tension you could cut with a knife. I stood across from Brianna, my hands shaking slightly, a folder clutched tight. She sat perched on the edge of our sofa, a glass of wine swirling in her hand, an icy smirk plastered on her face. It was showtime. "Brianna," I began, my voice surprisingly steady, "we need to talk, about Oakwood Drive." Her smirk widened. "Oh, what about my parents' house?" The condescension dripped from her voice like venom. "Let's call it what it is, Brianna. Your unauthorized renovation project, funded by my inheritance." I placed the folder on the coffee table between us, the printed emails and bank statements staring up at her. Her eyes flickered down to the folder, then back to me, the smirk faltering for a fraction of a second. Just a flicker, but it was enough. I saw a flash of fear in her eyes. "Good. I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice a little too high-pitched. "Don't you?" I opened the folder, revealing the topmost email. "How about this?" An email to the contractor, dated June 12th, where you claim I specifically requested Italian marble for your mother's bathroom. Italian marble, Brianna, my father would be rolling in his grave. Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. I wasn't letting her interrupt, not this time. Or how about this one? I pulled out another email. Where you tell them I'm fully on board with the wet bar for the sunroom. A wet bar, Brianna, really? She stared at the emails, her face a mask of shock. The smirk was gone, replaced by a look of panic. Ethan, I can explain. Explain what, Brianna? Explain how you systematically drained my inheritance, lied to my face, and forged my consent to fund your parents' lavish lifestyle. My voice rose, the anger I'd been suppressing for weeks finally boiling over. She flinched. This was new. Me raising my voice, me not backing down. The power dynamic, the one she'd so carefully cultivated over the years, was shifting. It wasn't like that, she stammered, her eyes darting around the room, looking for an escape. Then what was it like, Brianna? Enlighten me. I leaned forward, my voice low and dangerous. Because from where I'm standing, it looks an awful lot like theft, and fraud, and a whole lot of betrayal. That's when the tears started, the crocodile tears. She started sobbing, burying her face in her hands. Ethan, please, you're twisting everything. I was just trying to help my family. I didn't flinch. I'd seen this act before. Help your family by stealing from me, by using my father's legacy to build yourself a fancy in-law suite. She looked up, her eyes red and swollen. It's not stealing, we're married, what's yours is mine. No, Brianna, I said, my voice ringing with finality. What's mine is mine, and what you did, it's unforgivable. I stood up straight, the folder clutched tight in my hand. I'm filing for divorce. The tears stopped, the sobbing ceased. She stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. Divorce, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Divorce, I confirmed, my voice cold and hard. I've already spoken to a lawyer. I'm taking back what's left of my inheritance and I'm walking away. You can have the house. You can have the Italian marble. You can have the damn wet bar, but you're not getting another cent from me. She sat there, frozen, her face ashen. The queen had been dethroned, and I, the pawn, had finally checkmated her. It felt amazing. Like a weight had been lifted off my chest. Like I could finally breathe again. I walked out of that living room, out of that house, out of that life, and I never looked back. I was free, and it felt glorious. The immediate aftermath was messy. Brianna went nuclear, screaming, crying, accusations flying left and right. It was like a scene from a soap opera, except I wasn't entertained. I was exhausted, drained, but also strangely calm. I'd said what I needed to say. I'd drawn a line in the sand. And I wasn't budging. Her parents, of course, sided with her, called me ungrateful, selfish, accused me of abandoning family. It rolled right off me. I'd finally realized something huge. Their opinion of me didn't matter anymore. I was done seeking their approval. Done. It's been 6 months since I walked out. The divorce was finalized last month. It was brutal. Brianna fought me every step of the way. Tried to claim half of everything, even the inheritance she'd already spent. Luckily, I had Sarah and my lawyer in my corner. They were amazing. Absolute bulldogs. In the end, Brianna got a minimal settlement, just enough to finish the damn Oakwood Drive renovations. Ironic, isn't it? She ended up with the house she'd bled me dry for, but little else. Last I heard, her relationship with her parents is strained, to say the least. Seems the endless money flow has dried up. Karma, maybe. I sold our house, moved into a smaller condo closer to the city. It's peaceful, quiet, mine. I'm rebuilding my life brick by brick, reconnecting with old friends, focusing on my career. I even started taking woodworking classes, something my dad always wanted to do together. It's healing. There are still hard days, moments of doubt, times when I question everything. But then I remember the feeling of walking out of that house, the weight lifting off my shoulders, the sense of freedom. And I know I made the right decision. I've learned a lot about myself through all of this. I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I've learned to trust my instincts. I've learned that sometimes, walking away is the bravest thing you can do. And most importantly, I've learned that my father's legacy isn't about the money. It's about integrity, about standing up for what's right, about living a life he'd be proud of. So Reddit, what do you think? Have you ever had to walk away from a toxic relationship? How did you cope? What did you learn? I'd love to hear your stories. Because sometimes, sharing our experiences is the best way to heal.